Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Courtney, otherwise known as Makeup with Courts, and this is my first video. So this video is just a get ready with me, get to know each other. Let's crack into it. So my first product I'm going to be using today is my primer. This is the Infallible Mattifying Base by L'Oreal. So let's just, I find that I have more big pores on my chin, which is a pain to get rid of, because that's where foundation, when you eat and drink during the day, foundation can come off, your lipstick can rub onto it. Around my eye area, just above my lips, I got quite big pores around there, and my nose area, and then on my forehead. I'm a big fan of the Huda Beauty foundation. I use this in the colour Angel Food 110N. I got it during lockdown. I use a damp beauty sponge to pat this into my skin. It is the Morphe Highlight and Contour Sponge. As you will find in my videos, I am a big Morphe fan. So as you can see, make sure you get those ears. So make sure you get into your neckline. I used to do my foundation with a brush, but after a while it just had like a lot of lines, and I didn't like that. So that's when I went to using the beauty sponge. So let me tell you a bit about myself. So yeah, I'm Courtney. I've loved makeup for so many years. I've been a massive palette collector, mostly eyeshadows. I could have thousands of different eyeshadow palettes with the same colours but still love them. So that's my foundation done. So for my eyebrows, I'm going to go in with the Morphe pomade in the shade Latte, and the pencil, the micro brow pencil, also in the shade Latte, and then the Morphe brush M158, which has got your spoolie on the end and your little angled brush. So what I normally do is first I brush through my eyebrows, take the micro brow pencil, get back my spoolie pen brush. Please excuse me if I say anything wrong. So then I outline to sort of halfway. Pomade in the shade Latte. So I just get that on my angled brush. Filling those in, like so, and then just brushing out. My Jeffree Star Magic Concealer in the shade C5. Little brush out the applicator. I take the brush, I take a little bit from the doe foot. Then what I do is I start off underneath my brows. I am sort of making them all shaped. Then take back my beauty blender and pat that concealer in. Again, back to the concealer. So for this video I'm using natural lighting. So it's quite a dreary day outside. So then what I do is next I take some concealer and put it between my brows. I will do the same technique for at the top of my brows. So I'm happy with that. Morphe setting gel in shade translucent. My eyes. It's my favourite part of my routine. Morphe eyelid primer in the shade translucent. I'm going to take my trusty Morphe highlight and contour sponge. Just pat a little bit onto my eyelids. So I've used the Anastasia Beverly Hills Novena palette in the volume 3, which is the Mini Pro Pigment palette. And I'm going to take the shade number C1. These don't have names, these are just numbers and letters. And I'm going to take that, tap it off, get rid of that extra pigment. And I'm going to put that just in my crease. B3, I'm just going to put this just above. So that seems to be working quite well actually. I quite like that choice together. It works really well. As you can see, actually that has gone. They go together so well. I was a bit nervous actually that it might not work. But and I'm just going to blend out so we haven't got any stubborn lines. In lockdown, it came to me one evening, I should create an Instagram page. I started off just doing some basic looks, other more colourful looks, pictures that people have done, having a go, and then obviously tagging them so they know that I've not copied them. So I've been working on that now, probably about 6 or 7 months. Now I'm taking the Revolution cut crease canvas in the shade Halo. I use it to create a cut crease. It can also be used, if you've not seen this before, for a full coverage eyeshadow base. So instead of using a primer, you could just put a bit of this on your eye. I find that the applicator is a little bit, when you've taken it out, it's got so much product on it. So what I do is I just get a normal brush, like this one. I will then put it on my eye like this. Not doing a full cut crease today. I'm just going to do half. Now I'm going to take from the Novena palette, I'm going to take the shade A3. It's like a sort of purple, bit of blue. At a certain angle, you can see a little bit of pink in there. It's a very beautiful shimmer shade. So let me just swatch this on my hand so you can see. This swatch does not give it justice. This is such a beautiful shade. So it's, as you can see, very, very reflective. So I'm just going to get that on my finger and just put this on here. A few times might help. So that works really well. I love that shade. Now I'm going to take the shade B1 on a clean brush. Just dip into that. Make sure you tap the edges off and just put this here. Make sure that when you're doing this that both the shades come together. You don't want it to look like they've just been placed there. Right. I'm just going to do the other eye off camera. The other eye is done. Time to move on to concealer underneath so then I can do the under eye bit. So again, taking my Jeffree Star C5 concealer, I'm just going to put a little bit underneath. I try and put less on underneath to stop any caking. I'm not one of these people that put the concealer everywhere and then do it up. Like, I do one bit, conceal, setting powder, move on to the next bit. The Revolution Pro Pressed Finishing Powder. So I only just bought this recently. I was doing a buying just loads of stuff on Revolution, like you do. And I thought, let's try a new powder. And that's when I come across this one, my other eye. Oh no, there's splits in my sponge. Oh well, that means having to buy some more now. I'm just going to put a bit of concealer on my forehead. Some setting powder on. Set that away. Now I am going to go back into my under eye section. Oh, they're all calling to me, but this green, I think I might take this green actually. Take this green here, which is shade C2. So I'm just going to put it on my angled brush and I'm just going to put it in the waterline. I'm going to do the other eye at the same time. The only issue with doing it this way, which you probably would get if you were doing it with a pencil, is try not to poke your eyes out. I find it's best when doing this technique just to use a matte eyeshadow shade. Don't be putting any shimmers or any glittery ones in your eye waterline area, because that is where you're then going to be howling in pain. I'm going to start off with this smaller one. Go back into the shade C1, which I started off with my crease. And I'm just going to put this underneath that green. Try and spread it out a bit. Go do my other eye as well at the same time. I'm going to take my other brush and I'm going to dip back into the shade B1. Just gonna so this could be quite a Christmassy look. You got a bit of the red, you got a bit of the green. Right. So that's my eyes done. Now I'm actually going to move on and do some eyeliner. Taking the Morphe Felt Tip Liquid Liner in the shade Ink. I think, for some reason I work really well with these eyeliners, but I do also like the little eyeliners you get in the pot. You know, like those UV liners and some of the like sort of gel eyeliners, but I do use this one a lot more. So I'm just gonna... I can't really talk and do this at the same time. Right, so I've done a little cat eyeliner. So I'm just going to do the other eye. So the other liner is now done. While I was off camera, I also cut my lashes ready for when I put those on. But first, before I do that, I'm going to use a bit of the L'Oreal Paradise mascara, which is immense. This is probably one of the best mascaras you could buy in the drugstore. You can also get as well, you can get a waterproof one, you can get one for sensitive eyes. But what I would use, the Paradise Lash Primer. It just helps to get those lashes a little bit longer. So I'm just going to... And then I'm just going to take a bit on my small eyelashes at the bottom. So I'm going to move on to my other face products. I was so excited when this came. The Friends and the Revolution face palette from their series 2. Absolutely love the lip mask and the lip scrub. Every night before I go to bed, I will lip scrub. And then I will put the mask on and go to sleep with that on. and then in the morning I use Dr. Pawpaw, and I'll put this on before I go to work. So what I'm going to do is, if none of you have seen this before, this is amazing. It's like a massive coffee cup. So I've got the light to medium palette. Number 7 brush. It's the powder brush and the contour brush, I believe. I'm just going to take the shade Chai. I will tap it off, and what I normally do as well, put a bit on my hand like this, just so you don't get a full a lot of colour at first. I'm just going to start on my forehead. I'm just going to dip back into Chai again. So now I'm just going to make sure you get into your hairline, because you don't want to look like, you don't want to be looking like you've got like just a bit of gap there sort of thing. I'm just blending this out. Sorry about the funny faces. I'm happy with that, because you see by the natural light it's already hitting the centre of my forehead where I concealed earlier. I'm going to move on to highlighter. So my highlighter today, I'm going to come back and contour my nose in a minute. I'm going to use the Jeffree Star Super Frost Diamond Wet highlighter. This Wet n Wild P77 highlighter brush. Put a bit there. I like to put a little bit above my eyebrow as well. But as you can see, while that natural light hits on above my brow, so now I'm going to just contour my nose, and I contour just under my lip here as well. Makes it look a little bit bigger. So I'm taking the Huda Beauty Tantour, that's a bit of a word, Tantour Contour and Bronzer Cream in the shade Fair. I'm going to start with my nose. I'm just going to take a little bit on my brush, like that, not much. And I'm just going to put it down my nose here. It looks dark, but it's okay. On my nose here. And then a little bit on this side. Like that. On the camera, now my nose is very snatched, as they say. And I'm just going to take a bit of the Jeffree Star highlighter, put a little bit on my nose, like so. So as you can see, and then I'm just going to take a little bit, put it here. Again, dipping back into the contour, just under my lip. Already my lips underneath are looking considerably bigger, and I'm just going to pat that in. Like so. So now my lip bottom lip, as you can see, looks like it's a bit bigger. It's under my brow bone, like so. Just to get, so when the sun hits up there, like that. And then I'm just going to get a little bit like this on the end, and I'm just going to put it in the corner of my eye. And then just another little bit this side. So right, now I'm going to tuck into my Lunar Beauty Moon Prism palette. My God. This blush, as you can see, very complimentary on this palette. I bought this a few months ago. I started watching a load of Manny on YouTube, and I thought, wow. And he showed off this palette, and it was beautiful. Went on to Beauty Bay, as they stock it, Lunar Beauty in the UK, and found that it was out of stock. So I signed up for the notification to them let me know when it's back in stock, and they did a couple of weeks later. And I sat there one morning just before work, and I thought, shall I, shan't I? And I did, and I'm so glad I did, because very soon afterwards, a couple of days afterwards, it was sold out. So I'm just going to put a little bit on the apples of my cheeks, just brush up a little bit. So I took the shade Stargaze out of the palette. Again, what I like to do is, like what I do with my bronzer, I put a little, brush it a little bit on my hands. So it gives you a little bit of colour in your cheeks. We're not far off finishing now, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my eyelashes. I was thought like eyelashes or lips, what should I go for? So Morphe lashes. I was like, oh my god, all my other lashes are under the bed in a box at the moment, so this is the only one to hand. These are the Malibu lashes. What I'm doing is I'm taking, this is again something I saw on Manny's videos a few weeks ago. This is the Eyelaw lash liner. So basically it's a liner and it's got glue in there to do your lashes. I've used it a couple of times since buying it. I got it off InShot. So you really got to give it a good shake first. Otherwise it's not going to work because you're not mixing the formulas up. I did used to struggle with my lashes at first until I sat down one day and actually sat and played for ages trying to put lashes on, and in the end it did work. So I'm taking my, on the set of tweezers, so I'm just going to put this. And make sure you get it right on there. Okay. And like that, it's done. Make sure you get the, probably where everyone struggles with the lash. Make sure you get the ends right on. Otherwise, they're just going to come off every time you blink. So I'm just going to do the other lash off camera. So that's both the lashes now on. We are nearly done. I'm going to use the lipstick Rachel. This is a sort of darker nude, as you can see. I've not used this one yet. I have used the Phoebe one. The Phoebe one is quite dark. The formula is just, it's lovely, the formula. Tip I did learn is if you're wearing bright lipstick, like reds, this sort of colour, just go like this and it gets all the excess off so you don't get it on your teeth. We're probably done now, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to fab Oil Control Fixing Mist. My sprayer is broken. So that is the finished look. Am I happy with it? I am. I'm loving this eyeshadow. That blue shimmer is just so beautiful. And how that red and that pink just went so well together is just great. This is the end of my first video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to as well see more videos from me, please just press the subscribe button. I would be so grateful. Please ring the bell next to it. So thank you. Stay tuned for more from Makeup with Courts.